greetings. Anyways. Okay, so a different topic from yesterday. I think I've used the same thumbnail. I think I've seen that before, but maybe not. So timeline wars, time travel, or energies. I haven't done one of these in a while. Of even time travel wars. I think some people here can remember their time traveling lifetimes, or that they are currently doing it now. And usually it's the bad guy that's one of the most power. Usually it's, well, not, I mean, influence, maybe look at it that way instead of like power, but just, resources. Look at it that way. If you're here to, not to go into too much details on that. Or you can say dark channelers that are here to manipulate reality, and time travelers are here to clear that energy, or try to, at least, if they don't get anywhere, which is probably normally the case. And those that are manipulating the spiritual communities with false information that people believe is correct. So yeah, it's a tough road there. So yeah, as the time traveling energies are connected to, I think it was last night after the video. It's actually a movie, for Predestination, and so with Ethan Hawke. It has I think he's, well, putting too many spoils out there. I think he's like a time traveler that's connected to, I think it's connected to his mother that was a transsexual. So it gets kind of weird there. So there's more to it than that. So we connect to those energies, time traveling, timeline wars that are going on currently. I know ages ago, I went to it pretty deeply, but I don't think probably a lot of people didn't understand what I was talking about, which is nothing new. But definitely going through a version of that currently, but that can be done on a personal level. It's not like not necessarily world events. It could be like small personal situations, where they're working with their family timeline or someone else's family's timeline, and just trying to improve that in some way or another. You can say that aliens are involved with that to a certain level too, but it's like future versions of ourselves, you can say, when we evolve in the next 2 million years. Well, not to say they don't have time traveling abilities now. It's just, well, if they do physically, it's not as advanced as what I'm talking about here, but I think they have a version of it currently. Not that they're using it that well. We give them way too much credit. And also Mars energies, ghost energies of Mars. It's a lot of, here we're supposed to have a Mars colony, but it's like going into a haunted house. It's like, you sure you want to do that? Of course, the planet's not habitable for humans, so that's going to be interesting if they ever do. Of course, you can say technically they are doing it on a secret level, but we'll never know that. You can go all everywhere with that, but yeah. Oh, not that we can. Well, are they humans there? Of course. I don't think many of them live that long either. And went to the other planets too. At least the moons that they could go to. I think they got some. I think Titan, wherever Titan is. I think that's. I can't remember. Isn't there a Titan moon somewhere? Titan moon. You can't live on that, can you? It's a dwarf planet. I don't know if you live on that thing. I don't think you could. I don't know if it's a gas. Well, anyway, I feel the energies around the Titan moon. Its atmosphere only. I don't think you can probably live on that thing, but yeah, probably not. I don't know enough about it, but anyway, haze of atmosphere. It's not clear. Maybe. Well, I feel like they're on Titan. Let's put it that way. If that helps, if anyone's out there, let me know. But Mars is like a giant haunted house. Of course, the living conditions aren't great, but once you get past that, if you can get past that, it's obviously like a soul trap. Well, it's like, don't come here unless you know what you're doing. And obviously, we don't know what we're doing currently. So, but, of course, we don't know the whole dealings that's going on with the space programs and all that. I mean, there's hearsay, but we don't really know. If you know, I'm sure there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that think they do know. More power to you on that one. And the moon colony energies, I would assume so. That's not, that can only tap into that, but underground, there's definitely a lot of reptilian beings there, that's for sure. There's wars of grays there, but I think it's more of like a reptilian hangout. I'm connected to the moon, at least in that way. I haven't connected to the moon in that form in a while. Obviously, it's more fourth dimension than physical dimension. But they can't appear physically if they absolutely need to. Once you get another another haunted house, basically. Maybe not as bad as Mars, but still, it has its issues. It does have some Anunnaki there, but I think they even avoid it themselves because it's a pain in the neck there. It's like a bad part of town. I mean, it's the moon. It looks nice from a distance, but all the agendas and everything keeping us locked here. It has a lot to do with monitoring us from the moon and so on. You can say the moon, I don't know, you can say it's almost like Area 51 in space. Something like that. So anyway, not that we can go there and figure that out ourselves. Not that you would really want to, if you could. Unless you're a super soldier and they rip your arm off and get put it back together. Yeah. So it's all hearsay basically. But time traveler frequencies. Let's see what comes with that. As for our future and everything, and as for our future, we see August energy. We're not done with August yet, so we still have a week of August. So they're not done yet. I don't think they're going to finish. Yes, there's more agendas. They're not done yet. At least on Monday for sure. Yeah, Monday, I don't know, they're doing something on Monday. And that'll play out for the rest of the week. Whatever it might be. Maybe it's nothing. Feels like some kind of agenda is being set for Monday. So everything's quiet before everything starts to spill out. So, all right. Going to a couple of things here. Maybe. This is I'm telling comic private sessions. I have a scheduler. I have a shop here. I have the webinar. Social network behind the scenes. Archive. Just real quick. What am I doing? I'll make this easy. Go to the Wikipedia page. Maybe that's not the best place to go for this. Especially when he's begging for funds. Predestination. So, I'm not going into too much details of that. This is time traveling movie. That showed up to me last night, just on a whim. It's like, what is that? I think I've seen I think I've heard of it, maybe not. But without spoiling anything, if it's a very grounded, situation there. So, but it looks like they need to put that out there because it's going on, because it's happening. at least they're coming from the future to our reality and trying to get their lives together. You could say. So that's a vibe I'm getting from that. So okay, all right, we're going to time traveling frequencies, what they're allowed to say here on whatever level it is, and Mars, the ghost planet, and the reptilian moon colony. I imagine. I mean, there's other beings there too, but the reptilians seem to be the Gestapo over there. I mean, obviously there's insectoid beings and whatever, but you know, either way. So, all right, blessings. Here we go. Greetings. Yeah, time traveling frequencies. Realize also or time traveling consciousness. Realize also the gray future, the zeta future, is very deep into the future. That timeline will always exist of where the Earth is not habitable. There's always versions of that will exist. But there's also pockets where your future humans still have a way of, say, rescuing your planet. And to do that is more like rescuing ourselves, our own family lineage. Because even one family lineage can kind of spoil it for everybody. Figuring that out, finding it is another story. Well, it's like going to like the ancestry of like Hitler, you could say. To clear that energy, and obviously we that's a place we can't go. That whole hit, we cannot mess with any of that. Now there are versions of Earth where it has been altered and stopped, but then someone else will take the reign. It'll be somebody else doing it. So sometimes you can't stop it. So there just won't be Hitler, it'll be somebody else. Maybe not as treacherous, but then again, it can lead to a World War III situation even quicker. So, and that's other versions of Earth. But yours, yes, is protected, but still, obviously, a lot of conflict. Time travel energy is not there to be obviously messed with, but even picked up on. I mean, a lot of your aliens do time travel all the time, just into the future, into the past. They're constantly looking at your world to see where they can figure out what they can help. That's why I send some of you, or most of you here. Where your impact here can block a timeline that can cause a lot of difficulties. Even if you're just living like a mundane, regular life, you'd be surprised how much of influence you have. Sometimes the simpler, the better. It's kind of like you're just kind of like a doorstop. So just come here, stop the timeline from causing more ruptures here. Many of you incarnate to make sure certain timelines don't occur, or where the Earth will, or can be destroyed, and so on. So it gets very exhausting. But there's always someone trying to rule your reality. You see that already with the governments, how they just don't care what they're doing currently. And there's a lot of timeline energies there, of course, remote viewers that are good remote viewers, and also those that are not. And you say, your current government is doing a bit of a timeline or time traveling timeline war to a certain level, not as exciting as you might think. Well, they're trying to get away with everything. They're trying to steal, mostly secrets, actually. Obviously. Well, knowledge is power. I mean, yes, they can have wealth, but they rather have secrets, like the technologies, how to manipulate the stock markets, how to get things easier, kind of like a credit card with unlimited abilities, or a country that can give them unlimited resources. Always looking for somebody that can help them move forward where they can consolidate the power. Interesting. The U.S. is not that worried about China. China might be. They feel it. China, there's a U.S. and China war that you're not seeing physically, but it's espionage energy. You can say that's one of the reasons why I have not gone to war with Taiwan is because of the espionage energy that's going on currently that you'll probably never hear about for obvious reasons. There's a lot of sabotage going on secretly, at least with China and in the U.S. to a certain level. And yes, China has altered the U.S. Stock exchange a lot and sabotage that a lot. So it's not usually that's not always the U.S. trying to do it, make money off of it. Usually saboteurs that disrupt the companies here and oh, because the U.S. is doing it over there. Yeah, you scratch bad back, I'll scratch yours. So it's that serious, yes. It's how can you create the better spy? And there are also, of course, Russian spies here, of course. Of course, there are American spies over there too. Not as good as the Russian spies. Russian spies are better. If that helps. But once again, for the timeline frequencies that are occurring, some of you can tap into those energies. Maybe we're actually healing the time travelers that are here, because you probably feel like some of them are quite exhausted. Not that they like blame humanity for anything. It's just that they're dealing with their own inner turmoil. Look at it from that point of view. Does anyone blame humanity for their action? Not really. There's so many manipulative energies here, and some will not believe all of them. Some of you will. Most won't. It's like, well, I trust that person. What are you talking about? Well, there's something else going on there. But some just don't want to hear it. So it continues on. So, like when you see somebody trying to hijack your reality, and then maybe people will say, that's okay, let them do it. And there's a lot of service. The self energy is there. We can't stop everything. But as long as it's not manipulating, affecting the main timeline, like really causing Earth, well, then again, you have religions. And that's a whole nother, it's like once that was created, there's really no going back. You can say some of these spiritual groups are trying to do the same thing. Create a bigger enough movement where they can't be stopped. Not to say they're trying to take out the world, but to consume energy, consume souls. So that's a more difficult one to heal. This is... Greetings, this is Mars. Consciousness. Yes, you'd be surprised how many Martians are here. Yes, Anunnaki gets a bad rap. But what about the Martian? That's never usually mentioned, probably for good reason. Because Mars energies, there's a female Mars energy and a male Mars energy. And those are usually self-obsessed frequencies that you usually find a way to get whatever they want. But of course, they can have a dab of Venus with them to make themselves look a little bit more presentable. But they can also have Martian agendas to saboteur frequencies. Something that can be parents. It's a mixture of many. Obviously, there's other elements that don't want to be mentioned here. Is an insectoid frequency. Well, insectoids feel like they're smarter than humanity. And in some ways, they're true. That's true. And they're part of also artificial intelligence, so they know how to use it. So that's say humanity can't win over them. They do. But insectoid beings are very intelligent. Of course, you don't really see. You look at the bugs and all that. It's like, what? They're a bug trying to take over the world. Well, they like to influence worlds, so they play a big role in cloning. Think about it. An insectoid being doesn't think anything about cloning their own race, let alone a human race. And who better to do it? First off, not that they care, but who's going to believe that? Like a 6-foot insectoid being that you can't see in your dimension has cloning technologies beyond what humans have here. Well, of course, you're in the physical realm, so it's a little different. So even the aliens are kind of outsmarted by the insectoids. Well, because insectoids can work all the time, kind of like agents to some level. Well, because they just work themselves to death and they don't care. Of course, they do care eventually, but they're just insectoid beings also have a hive mind frequency. Yes, their bodies are usually very weak, but they can still catch their collective and continue on. And if they do get half their race wiped out, as long as they can retain that knowledge, you really don't care. So it's something for you, some of you to tap into. Cloning insectoid beings. How does that feel exactly? You might not like the vibe of it, but realize this is more of a fourth dimension, an alien direction. Some of you actually visit these facilities too, and sometimes you can't do anything about it. They'll even let you see what they're doing as long as you don't mess with anything. Yeah, think of that. Cloning chambers, insectoid. Yeah, go take a look. We're that confident about ourselves. Of course, you start messing around with it. Well, they can detect. They can, with their abilities, they can detect if you're there to lie to them or manipulate. They can see it a mile away, depending on the insectoid frequency. So just putting that out there for you. Of course, the human, of course, is an intelligent energy, but you're in the physical realm, so obviously memories and everything's been suppressed. And so, but still, you're finding eventually you'll come to more of the galactic side of things. But humanity has to be really ready for emotionally. Some of you are, but your numbers are low. Well, yeah, basically, can you handle fighting, beings from a bug planet? I mean, you're kind of dealing with it now, but more in the physical nature of it. Yeah, those are talk about Earth, talk about problems when that becomes more known physically. When you're ready for that experience, that will happen eventually, but not at this time. Yeah, so you get ready for dinner, you're trying to do things, and all of a sudden you have to go fight a bunch of bugs, a bug invasion. So greetings. This is the moon consciousness. Well, your tech companies or your YouTube does not trust your collective at all. Obviously, they're trying to control how people think. It doesn't always work out that way. There's a lot of ego within the YouTube, those that run it, the bosses of it. They're clueless of the content out there, the soul energies. They want to keep people under control, as you know, because it does play a big role in, you have too many conspiracy theories. People do get crazy. And so trying to cut that out, but obviously that hurt their bottom line. But the idea is also, yes, of course, there's government entities within it. Of course, well, they do a psychological warfare. And so they know what will spark a lot of trouble for themselves or cause civil unrest. Well, they've been trying to do that for a while, but it's not working. As for the moon colony frequencies, of course, there's reptilian. Well, reptilians feel like they are doing the right thing, and that's not always a wrong. That's not necessarily wrong. As for what's happening to humanity here is allowing a lot of the challenges that occur. So while you're doing this, like you're spicing yourselves up with all this, it's like wearing a lot of cologne, basically, and not realizing when to stop. And so it just they just have to let you run your cycle of what you need to do here, and then they'll open you up to the universe. So yeah, there's reptilian beings. They're not necessarily negative. They're just watching over your planet as you get your act together. So it's not just reptilian beings. There's other beings here, but there are some alien beings. Oh, just open the doors, everything will be fine. But it's like, are you sure about that? Humans, they show how humans aren't really ready for the galactic realms. Yes, they're not ready for spider beings. They're not ready for giant tarantula beings. Because once you open that up, you go back to Atlantean times and all kinds of strangeness will occur. And the psychological side of humans are just not quite there yet. But that's what many of you are here for, in that part of awakening, to open up to what is actually out there, and basically help your culture accept the universe for what it is. Doesn't mean you're going to always like it. But as for the moon-based frequencies, it's like a neutral. It's like Switzerland. It's neutral. It's not perfect. It's controversial. It is. There's technologies there, but once again, just basically not necessarily to judge humanity. Just let humanity do what it needs to do at all levels. And there's this many cycles many have to go through to get to more of the galactic levels. And the galactics aren't really ready for humans either, because once the humans here start evolving more, of course you can do that fourth dimensionally, but as for the physical, because you're still going to be physical beings connected to alien energies eventually. Just like in the old 1950s movies and things like that, it'll happen eventually. We don't see a ship landing on the, well, it's not yet, landing on the White House and say, come in peace and all that. They're not quite ready for that. That's even on the aliens, some of that's kind of an ego situation going on there. But they have thought about it a lot, though. All right,